Hello everyone. Starting today, we need to forget what's gone, appreciate what remains, and look forward for what's next, as the secret of getting ahead is getting started. A warm welcome and hearty morning to each and everyone present here. I am Palak Dubey of PharmD second year from Sri Aurobindo Institute of Pharmacy Institutions Innovation Council. It feels immense pleasure to dignify your presence in the interest of Tete with Mr. Kumbhoje. On behalf of Sri Aurobindo Institute of Pharmacies Institutions Innovative Council, I am opportune to welcome our speaker, Mr. Sachin Rajaram Kumbhoje. We are honored to have Dr. S.C. Chaturvedi, Director SAIP, Dr. Gaurav Khan Sarogi, Principal SAIP, Dr. Sudha Vengulkar, Dean Research and Development SAIP, Mr. Sunil Kumar Dwivedi, Vice Principal SIP, all the faculty members, and my dear friends. Let me throw some light on our speaker's profile. Mr. Sachin Rajaram Kumbhoje has completed his MBA in specialization with human resource and M.Pharm in pharmaceutical chemistry from Shivaji University, Kolhapur. He is currently the co-founder and CEO of OPEX Accelerator Private Limited, co-founder and COO of Siri EduTech LLP, also the CEO and of Plan B Digital Startup Media and partner of Sattvic Organics. He is recognized from Prime Minister's office for promoting Make in India campaign for pharmaceuticals. Also, he is Infosys certified trainer for Global Business Foundation Skill Program. His startup is also listed in Best Startups to Look For in 2020 by Insight Success International Business Magazine and won the title of Smart Udyojak from Mumbai-based Business Magazine. He is also the author of book Pharmaceutical Interview Guide published by Career Publishers Nasik. Mr. Kumbhoje is also involved with imparting his experience as a council member of Netra IT Technology Business Incubator under Maharashtra Innovation Society, Enrich Startup Center at SIPS Andhra Pradesh, Innovation and Incubation Center, Sanjay Godavat University. Also the member of Incubation Center, Government College of Engineering, Karan, Incubation Center, Gharda Institute of Technology, Chiploon, and Sharad Startup Center, SIT, Ichal Karanji. In his early career days, Mr. Kumbhoje worked as Officer Technology Transfer in Watson Pharmaceuticals, Goa. Also worked as Program Coordinator in Make in India Tour and Associate Volunteer Enable India NGO, Goa. Apart from his journey, I would like to share his vision, that is to enable the startup ecosystem of India. I believe, knowing his vision, some of the students would like him to be their mentor. Not taking much of your time, I would request our speaker to inspire and motivate the hall. Thank you, sir. Yeah, please.
Thank you so much for your brief introduction. So I have seen, first of all, I would like to regret all the participants, all the organizers being late. So I'm 30 minutes late for this program. Actually, I'm traveling towards Bangalore, and little bit late for the entire journey. And even today, for the next 3 days, I'm interacting with some of the pharma students, maybe some 300 to 400 students are there. I am interacting with them for the next 3 days on startups, entrepreneurship. They are coming with some great ideas on creating some diagnostic kits, medical devices, even some of the solutions which can, enhance this COVID-19 testing and entire acceleration. So I'm, fortunate to have an interaction majority with the students. And in this regard, uh, I have been asked to, share a presentation on startup and entrepreneurship opportunities in healthcare. So, as a part of this, even as a healthcare professional, I would like to share one presentation through which I'll be going through this, all these things. So, there are basically three nuggets which I wanted to share you. Number one is we are going to see, or we are going to have a discussion on entire startup ecosystem. Number two, I'll be sharing you some of the interesting case studies on healthcare startups. And number three, what after this session, or what you as a professional, what you as a researcher, what you as an innovator, or what you as a startup enthusiast, you can do after this session. So I'll be sharing you this entire session for the next 45 minutes. And in case if you have any pen and paper, you can take down some of the points so that it will be easy for you to have a Q&A session or Q&A discussion later on. So just a moment, I'll share you this presentation. So is it visible? Can anybody confirm whether my slide is visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is
Yeah.
visible, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's start with startup and entrepreneurship opportunities. Before that, I would like to share you. See, because many of the students, many of the youngsters, they are misunderstood this startup term. Any business or any new business which they want to start or which they start, they consider this as a startup. In fact, it is not like that. So startup is a business. Startup is any business which has innovation. So this word innovation is important here. So now let's understand, say for example, i am if I am a business owner and I have recently started with a franchisee of Apple or Apollo Pharmacy. So if I have started this Apollo Pharmacy, I cannot become a startup founder. I cannot become an entrepreneur. I become a business owner. Okay, because for me as a franchisee business owner, I did not have any innovation in my business, in any operations. I'm just a franchisee owner. So a typical business is completely different, which we call as a traditional business, and a startup is completely different, where you need to be something innovative in your business. Now what kind of innovation which we see? So innovation, what we have studied as a technical student or as a technical professional, innovation can be in product or in a process. So either you modify your product and that will be your innovation, or either you modify your process, it will be your innovation. But in a startup space, we do have many of the startups, many of the unicorn startups which we have today in India, even at Silicon Valley, which does not have any innovation in product or which does not have any innovation in process, but they do have innovation in business model, right? So the best example which I can give you is Oyo, right? So Oyo is something which has modified a business model. Okay, same is the case with Ola and Uber. Okay, so this is basically where we have this innovation. Even 1mg or Pharmeasy, these are some of the healthcare startups which has brought this innovation in their operations or in their business operations. Okay, just a moment. uh, yeah, sure, just a moment. Just a moment. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
So yeah, so it was like a basic definition about startup. So startup is a business with innovation. But why do we have such kind of startups, or why your institution, your university, or your team is taking efforts in bringing some of the startup sessions and entrepreneurship sessions? Why we do need to have all these kind of sessions? So there are some advantages which our country today have, and we need to take advantage of all these things. So number one advantage which our country have is demographic dividend. Now what do you mean by demographic dividend? See, today India is the youngest country on this planet, where we have 64% population with an average age of 28. So can you imagine a country, can you imagine a potential which one country have, which have an ideal age or average age of 28, where we see the much of the potential or much of the aspirations are from the youngsters. So we need to take the advantage from this demographic dividend aspect. Number two, similarly how we have opportunities, similarly we do have some challenges as well. Okay, so when we see a healthcare sector, or when we see healthcare system in our tier 3 and tier 4, some of the, even some of the rural areas, even during my travel today towards Bangalore, I have seen some of the villages, some of the tier 4 areas, where even the facility or the medical care facility, or the kind of efforts which we need to really take for tier 4, we do not have that. So how we can take this as an opportunity, how we can take this challenge as an opportunity? So seriously, we have, even during this COVID-19, we have closely seen what kind of challenges we do really have in our healthcare sector. We have closely seen our own healthcare sector. Now, why I'm facilitating healthcare more and not using a word pharmaceutical? See, when it comes to startup space, we need to think of healthcare as in whole. We don't have to just focus on pharmaceuticals. So pharmaceutical is basically one of the part of entire healthcare sector. When you see any opportunity, you need to focus on entire sector, that is healthcare sector. So as I was telling, in most of the cases, in most of the cases during this COVID-19 and pandemic, even before that, we have closely seen our entire healthcare sector, and we need something to, really disrupt the entire healthcare sector so that we can reach to the ground, we can reach to the utmost population, and we can serve to the society, to the patients, right? So more problems will lead to more opportunities. One more best thing which we have, we are the capital of engineers. We have a capital, or we are the, the largest country on this planet which have highest number of universities and highest number of engineering institutions. If you simply if you simply make a total of engineering institutions from US and China, even we have more than that of the engineering institutions. So we do have the best talent and in engineering institutions, plus we have a technology which is known as jugaad. So most of the things which we have already did, and we have proved that yes, we do have something called as jugaad, which Silicon Valley people, they consider as an innovation. So our kind of innovation which we call as a jugaad, right? And last is, yes, as far as healthcare sector is concerned, we do have more and more number of post COVID opportunities. Post COVID opportunities, we have a list of opportunities, and even I'll be sharing you all the subsectors in our healthcare sector so that you can drill down your opportunities and you can focus on either of these opportunities. One more advantage, even recently, UK has, they have uh, positively assumed or positively, shared that the India is right now a pharmacy capital of the world. So, we are already a generic manufacturing hub. Okay. And considering all the attempts which we have taken during this post COVID, or during this COVID-19, even best example which we have is the efforts from Serum Institute Pune, right? So even whatever efforts Serum Institute has taken, or other vaccine manufacturing companies they have taken, right now we are the pharmacy capital of the world. So worldwide we are gaining this trust, we are gaining this business. Even our clinical research, the kind of clinical research we had earlier before some 10 15 years, right now the projects in outsourcing of these clinical research, they are getting increasing. Even API. So even before COVID, we used to import 70% of the API from China, right? But right now we are facilitating all our API industries at Hyderabad, and that's how Hyderabad has become a bulk drug capital of India. So right now we are focusing more on how we can produce all the raw materials in-house. So whenever you will produce all these raw material, API, excipients, everything in-house, entire manufacturing will be in-house in our own country. At that time we can export at maximum potential, plus we will able to produce cost effective medicine. So that's the vision which our country or which our government today has. Okay, moving ahead, today we have a startupindia.gov.in, which is an official website from government of India. So this is basically Invest India Federation, it comes under Invest India Federation. And any businesses, if you think your business can be a startup, or if you think that you should receive a certificate of recognition from government of India stating your business is startup, then you have to register your startup on startupindia.gov.in. Okay, now 38,000 right now, before this April 2020, our country have a presence of more than 38,000 startups. These are officially recognized startups from government of India. Now when during submission of your startup, you need to mention what innovation you have in your business operation. It can be in product, it can be in process, it can be in any business model, right? So when you propose this innovation in your business model, then and then you will get this certificate of recognition. Now looking at the facts and figures of the number of startups, Indian startups, we are looking at the Indian startup ecosystem. Some 5 years back, when we started this entire campaign, in year 2016, we had only 516 startups, only 516 startups. But later on, after 2 years, during 2018, we had more than 8,000 startups, and today we have more than 38,000 startups. So this is how you can call even mushroom growth of startups in India, right? Because is extravagant, we are considering this as a potential area or a potential sector where one can grow. Okay, and we are considering this as all the opportunities. So right now we have approximately 5,000 startups in healthcare startups in our country, and this is a number before December 2018. Even uh, this is a sector contribution where Maharashtra state have the highest number of startups today. Maharashtra has more than 3,500 startups, and closely to Maharashtra, Karnataka state, they have approximately 3,000 startups. Right. So here, Maharashtra is at number one position in having maximum statewide startups. And similarly, Bangalore is the capital for startups, or we can call as a Silicon Valley of our country. So Bangalore has given us maximum tech startups. Even Flipkart has started, or the origin of Flipkart is from even Bangalore. So there are multiple startups who have originated from Bangalore, and they could reach to the maximum investor, and they could reach to a maximum valuation. And these are the startups which are driven by a technology. Now let's see a sector wise distribution here. So out of all 38,000, right now we have more than 15% startups in IT services, 9% in healthcare and life sciences. But this number is going to increase day by day. So even in the last 5 years, we look forward that this 9.1% startups in healthcare, it will gradually grow up to 15 to 18% of the total count. Okay, so there are other sectors as well. For example, we do have the startups in augmented reality, virtual reality, even food, beverages. Food is the next one which have highest potential. So number one is healthcare, number two is food, and number three is tech startups, right? So out of this, even agriculture is attempting maximum attention here. So even agriculture have multiple startups. Even during this recent hashtag farmers protest, we do have seen there are multiple problems which are associated with farmers, which are related with agriculture. So we do see there are n number of startups which may come into picture in upcoming years to come. Next, we do have startups in finance and technology, 3.5%, rest retail 3.4, green technology 3.3%, renewable energy 3.1%, and so on for IoT, real estate, and artificial intelligence. Now, considering technology startups, we have more than 5,000 startups. Now, what are these technology startups? See, whenever you integrate a technology in your business operation, it becomes tech startup. So it is not always a rocket science where you need to integrate some robotics or virtual reality or big data in your startup or in your business operation. Even a simple Android application which is driven by artificial intelligence or a machine learning can bring you or can give you a tech startup. Now, why we do have this technology startups is because the startups, whatever technology startups are there, because they are working on analytics part, and because they are working on convenience part to the society or to the population. Most of the population which we have easy access to smartphones, and that's where we are adopting this technology through our business operations. Every year we do have some 3,000 technology startup addition in our country, considering entire techno startups. Next we have is the entire startup base. Right now the startup base is at cosmopolitan cities like Bangalore, Delhi, NCR, and Mumbai. So these alone form 68% of the total startups. See, this does not mean that tier 2 and tier 3 does not have any talent pool. Yes, they do have excellent ideas, they do have excellent innovations with them, but only thing is they need a support system, they need this support mechanism. And this is how incubation centers came in picture. So even your institution may have incubation center, your institution may have some startup centers. So these are some of the incubation center which help, which support, which handhold, which mentor these earlier startups from tier 2 and tier 3, so that they can reach to their target, they can reach to their goals. Okay. One more thing or one more challenge which you can address as a youngster here is, today we have only 540 startups which are focused on solving India's core problems. Now, what are India's core problems? India's core problems are pollution, population, waste management, women's safety, crime, right? These are some of the India's core problems, and there are only 540 startups which, as an social entrepreneurship aspect, they introduced to the market, and they are doing fantastic, right? So here we need to consider all our India's core problems can be a biggest opportunity to start with or to begin with. Number two advantage which you get as a social entrepreneurship or social entrepreneur, you can easily get the funds, right? When you solve a social problem, when you solve or when you get into the market to solve a social cause or for a social cause, you get the funds immediately from a society that may be from NGOs, that may be from CSR, that may be from government of India, right? So it is actually easy to become a social entrepreneur, but you need to take patience, you need to work maximum on field, you need to literally understand the problems of the customer or the problems of the people, so that you can actually solve them, maybe by using a technology or without using a technology. Next, today we have more than 250 active incubators and accelerators. This number is 210 is the number up till December 2019, but today we do have some 250, 260 accelerators and incubators, right? So like how I told you, like we do have incubation centers at institutions. So now what these incubation centers actually do? Now, have you heard of word incubator? Probably in hospitals you may have thought of this word incubator. So what they do, incubators, so say for example, if a newborn baby is there who is premature, and because she is prematured, we need to keep this baby in incubator. Why we keep this baby in incubator? Because the kind of environment or the kind of nutrition which she or he wants to get, they will get this environment in this incubator. So unless and until they get matured enough, we keep these babies in incubator. So this is how incubation center plays important role here. So if you have any ideas to start with or to begin with, or if you have any small prototypes, so that is something like a premature baby. You cannot directly go and launch your product in the market. It needs some support, it needs some nutrition, it needs some environment, so that you can create a matured startup. And when you have a matured startup, or when you have a matured product or perfect product, then and then only with the help of incubation center you can launch this product, launch your startup in the market. So this is the ideology behind incubation centers. Now we as a OPEX, now we as an accelerator, what is our role here? So as an accelerator, we basically run two different verticals. Number one, we handhold established professionals, or we handhold already existing startups to scale up their startups or to scale up their business. That is number one. Number two, we help incubation centers, we help institutions, so that we can have an entire startup ecosystem at campus level. So similarly, even some 2 days back, I was in Chhattisgarh for 2 days. So even we facilitated some of the institutions in setting up their incubation centers, in setting up their startup center, where the students have a pool of ideas, but the only ideas will not create a startup. So idea is basically 20%. Ideas are basically like, every time I see that for any startup, idea has 20% contribution, but 80% is all about execution. So that execution needs to be there, that support mechanism should be there. And this is how we support these institutions to set up their incubation center or their startup centers. We raise the funds for their startup centers, and then we can see a mushroom growth at campus level as well for these startups, right? So even for Bangalore journey, we are for the same purpose, where we are visiting some of the institutions here, and we are setting up their incubation centers. Even next week I'll be at Andhra. So there I'll be having an interaction with a similar kind of pharma institutions to support their incubation center. Now moving ahead, the average age of startup founder is 28, and that's the opportunity for all of you. Now you are maybe at the age of 23 to 25. Okay, So even today, you start this particular journey, you will take some 2 years to build your startup. And this is the average age of startup founder. Because see, this is the age where you can have maximum attempts of trial and error. Once you reach at 35, 38, 40, you will be at your comfort zone, and you will not, you will have your own family, and then you will not have that risk to start something new, which may or may not give you some income, or which may or may not give you some revenue, a fixed revenue or constant revenue. See, this is the age where you can have this trial and error, and then you have that energy, you have that sense of technology. You are the ones who knows the technology more than us. Okay, even the kind of smartphones which you are using, or the kind of social media which you guys are using, it is something where we need to learn technology from you guys. Okay, so you are great in technology, you are great in learning agility, but this is the time where you need to focus. So focus is the thing where which you need to understand first, so that you can have other things lined up for your own startups. Now focus here for number 3 column, which is student startups. See, now first understand what is student startup. Student startup is something, now each and every student during their graduation, under graduation, you do have some projects. So there are some, even in IITs or even in NITs, whatever projects they have, these are the students, or these are the teams of the students who take these projects by, exploring entire field. They find a problem from society, they catch those problem, they create a solution for their project, and then before they graduate, they see to it that how I can commercialize my own project. I can give you a list of examples from IITs and NITs. They have actually used their project work as a startup. So even your project, if it is innovative, even if your project can be commercialized, and that can be your startup, right? So startup is not, see, startup today is at a different hype. Okay, but here you need to consider that the initial part is the core of the startup is customer's pain point. Understand customer's pain point first, then build a product, then build a service, and then your journey will start. Most of the startups, they start with an idea, or with a product that may not sustain. First reach to the customer. You need to be in the shoes of customer to understand their own problem, right? Then and then only understand or address that customer pain point, so that you can, start your journey towards execution point. Now we are moving to the next nugget of this session, that is the case studies. Okay, now here I have these subsectors in healthcare startups. So these are all the subsectors of our healthcare sector, right from online pharmacy. Then we do have personal health management, home healthcare, fitness and wellness, telemedicine, diagnostics, biotech R&D, medical devices, healthcare IT, biopharm, and genomics. So that's the reason why initially I told you, like, I'm not focusing only on pharmaceuticals, I'm focusing on healthcare startups. Because when you consider healthcare as a sector, it is whole, it is huge. You need, or you can consider any subsector, then you can ideate. And each and every sector of this healthcare is, expecting maximum or higher side of growth in upcoming times to come, right? So before you build something, you need to target, or if your market is India, then you need to target either of this. See, number one, your product or your service, whatever services you have or whatever products you have, it should promote either affordable healthcare or preventive healthcare, or it should be in a category of portable medical devices. See, this is the trend, this is the market trend, this is the requirement from market. So if you have something, you need to really link up whether your innovation is under affordable healthcare or preventive healthcare or portable medical devices. So let's have an example, one by one example of all these subsectors. So number one is online pharmacy. So for online pharmacy, we have excellent example of 1mg. Then we do have Pharmacy, Netmeds. These are all top listed online pharmacies which our country have today. And even most of the examples, even Netmeds, some last month, even Reliance has made a huge investment in Netmeds, right? 1mg is there, Pharmacy is there, Next is personal health management. Here, My Upchar and Cure Joy. In medical devices, we do have UE Life Sciences, Forus Health, Beto Veldetics. Fitness and wellness industry is booming. Thanks to COVID-19, now the fitness and wellness industry is booming. Even the cricketers, Indian cricketers, Bollywood celebrities, they are taking interest in fitness and wellness startups as as an investors. Okay, so we do have Fiternity, we have CureFit is the one, the founder of CureFit is the one who have started jabong.com, right? Next is Healthify Me. Next is GoQ. You might have seen the advertisements of Akshay Kumar, who is promoting GoQ. Okay, so even he has an investment in GoQ. Next is Home Healthcare. So Home Healthcare, we have Healthians. So Healthians is a startup which is originated from Punjab, and the investor is Yuvraj Singh. So even if you just Google or get onto the website of healthians.com, you can immediately see all the posters and creatives of Yuvraj Singh. So Yuvraj Singh, he has invested 300 CR in Healthian startup. Okay, so this is where he has aggregated all the phlebotomists so that you can have all your blood test or your pathology test sitting in a home. Okay, next is diagnostics. In diagnostics, we have excellent innovative startup that is Niramai. So Niramai is the one who have won best startup or best innovative startup last year in healthcare category from central government. So Nirama is the one who have created this innovation in order to solve the customer pain point or patient's pain point, which is related with breast cancer diagnosis. Okay, we'll be sharing more details on that in during this case studies. Next, we have healthcare IT. Yes, Practo. Yes, Practo is the best example which I can give you for all the students, because Practo is the one which has been started by students only. Okay, so the founders, two founders of Practo, they were the second year engineering student which we were studying at NIT Bangalore, and at the age of 19 they ideated the concept of Practo. They started their journey from 2008, I guess, and later during 2 years they started this Practo. Okay, so Practo is world's leading healthcare startup now. Next is Innovator, HealthPlix, PharmaRack, Attune, Pune Best Live Health from Abhimanyu Bhosle. Abhimanyu Bhosle was with us during one of our program in last month. So even he is doing good in live health, which is MIS, Management Information System for Hospitals. And then is telemedicine. Even we are actually sensing the need of telemedicine now, because right, we cannot reach to tier 4 areas of our country. We need to have this telemedicine approach as well. Docs app is there, MFine is there, Liberate is there. So these are the top examples of healthcare startups. Let's see one by one case studies. So number one is Netmeds. So Netmeds is, first of all, this is the biggest medical startups in India, and right now they have active customers and deliveries to more than 19,000 pin codes right now. So this is India's leading online pharmacy. This is one of the finest startup which I can see or I can explain, impactguru.com, which is based out of Mumbai. Now what these people are doing, let me tell you one example. Now one of our classmate, Mr. Samadhan, so this is not a case study, this is what happened with us in last year. So Samadhan was one of our classmates during our B Farm, and he did his entire post graduation from UK. There he worked for 6 to 7 years, and later on, because of his health issues, he came back to Mumbai, and then he started with his job in, I guess he was in Agenda Pharmaceuticals in regulatory affairs. So there he worked for 3 years, and later on he diagnosed with leukemia, blood cancer, and then uh, his total budget for entire this hospital and this entire treatment and operatives was some 32 lakh rupees. Now out of this 32 lakh rupees, he along with his friends and family could manage 25 lakh rupees. And then all these things which we wanted to address as a part of our alumni association, so we took that initiative so that we can collect rest 7 lakh rupees from our alumni association. So by using social media, by using emails, wherever and whatever friends we have or classmates or seniors juniors we have, we could connect them and we could collect this 7 lakh rupees within some 9 to 10 days. So this is basically a crowdfunding. So for any hospital expenditure, if patient is not, you know, uh, he do not have that kind of budget, or he do not have that kind of spending, he basically ask his friends or family to get a donation or who get the help. This is what happens in most of the hospitals where the patients are unable to pay for their operatives or surgery. So here, impactguru.com is basically a crowdfunding platform where what you have to do is, if you find someone who needs such kind of help, maybe your family friend or maybe something which you know, you can directly visit this impactguru.com. You have to just have an input on whatever, as a patient, all the details you have to fill, and impactguru.com on behalf of you will start collecting all the funds from people across the world. So this is basically an approach of crowdfunding. So this is a crowdfunding platform. Okay. Now, unfortunately, back to the story, we could collect this 32 lakh rupees. Some 20, 21 days he was hospitalized, but unfortunately, we missed him. And even in during this, before this pandemic only, we lost him. But this is where we can sense that this is the need of patient. Right. Now he was with a well family because he could manage some 25 lakh rupees, but it is not possible for everyone. So this is where impactguru.com will actually make impact in a life of that patient, impact in a life of that entire family. So you can visit this website, you can even study this as a case study. These are some of the case studies which will really help you to inspire as well as to create something which will have impact on families, which will have impact on patients, right? Next is docplexus. So this is basically from IITN. So docplexus have more than 2.75 lakh doctors. Okay. Now, how we have a Facebook, a social media network, or LinkedIn, like we have this professional networking website. So this is a network for doctors. So doctors, they can come on this portal free of cost. They can share their inputs, ideas. They can ask for support, help, whatever is there. And then docplexus bring customers through pharmaceuticals, where they can display their ads and they can ask for revenue. So this is docplexus. Mera Medicine is one more startup which is into online medical service, but they are into more into generic medicines. Ikeen Care is most innovative healthcare startup. What they are doing is they are basically giving facility people the facility to save their all medical documents and access them from anywhere. So this is MIS, Management Information System. Next is Practo. So Shashank and Abhinav. So this was the story of Shashank and Abhinav, and this is the best example of student startup. So they started in 2008 when they were at 19 age. So today they have over 2 lakh doctor profiles, 5,000 diagnostic centers, which are based in 35 cities. So today Practo is one of the world's leading healthcare platform. Next is Pharmacy. Pharmacy is one more startup from Mumbai, and it was started in 2015. So even this is basically into online pharmacy, online delivery. See, here I'm not into a debate where online pharmacy should be there or it should not be there, right? So that's a different kind of story. I am basically focusing on startups. I am basically, focusing on solving customers' pain point. That's it, right? So here the complete thing is related with regulations, that whether pharmacy kind of online pharmacies should be there or should not be there, something like that. Okay. Now my slides are become messy. Okay, I'll try to read those. Okay, the next is blood sugar. So blood sugar has been started in 2012. Now what this blood sugar is doing, see, again consider a same case where one of the friend or one of the family member is looking for O negative blood group. So what we do really is we draft one message and we circulate to all our WhatsApp family groups and everywhere on social media. But this is basically an application where you can register as a blood donor. You can have all your inputs there, that I have B positive blood group and all the things like weight and last platelet donation, last blood donation. Whenever there is a need of O negative blood group or B negative blood group or AB negative blood group, at that time you have to just simply get into blood sugar you have to or that application trace your location through GPS based on your requirements. Say for example you require O negative, then blood sugar will search you the nearest blood donor from your territory, right? So maybe he belongs to you or you recognize him or not, he basically is stranger for you, but still this is how problem gets solved. So by using this GPS technology, by using this location, then he traces the favorable blood donor in nearby area, right? So this is basically the concept which has been reached to over 1.25 lakh active donors from India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. So Niramai is the one which has, or I was talking about Niramai. So this has won best healthcare startup of the year last year by Government of India. So they are using AI and machine learning for pain-free breast cancer screening. So ideally, whatever cancer hospitals we have, whatever process which they have for breast cancer diagnosis, they are using AI and ML by using some of the tools, by using some of the technology, and within 15 minutes, a lady can diagnose whether she has breast cancer or not. That is again in cheaper cost, right? So Niramai has been in press, and even the your story, Indian Express, almost every press media has covered a story of Niramai. Next is Live Health, which is based in Pune, from Abhimanyu Bhosle. So he's into MIS, Management Information System. So like how we have seen Ikin Care, this is on the same platform. Even they are using AI. Emergency is the one which is funded recently by Ratan Tata sir. Okay. So emergency is basically an aggregator which brings together all the emergency services, which we call ultra emergency as well. So whenever we have urgency, what we do is we call 108. At least in Maharashtra and Karnataka, we call 108. I don't know what number you have in Madhya Pradesh, but here we call 108 whenever we see any emergency or any accidents. So this is where you have to just open your emergency app, and there, based on your location, you will get all the emergency services from nearby emergency aggregators. So they have this doctors, nurses, paramedics, ambulances, first aid assistants, all in one platform whenever you have this emergency, right? Because even a smallest timeline or a smallest delay during this ultra emergency timeline can, you know, basically ruin the entire condition of that patient. Okay, so you need to take care of that timeline. So this app has been responded over 3 lakh emergencies so far, which has been helped patients during this critical hour. Bagmo is the one. Now uh, we do have blood bags. Okay, after blood donation we have these blood bags, and if suppose I want to travel through these blood bags from Bangalore to nearby village, maybe some 25 kilometers, and I may need some 3 hours to reach there. So there are chances that because of temperature or because of the environmental conditions, that blood bags may have some impact of temperature. So these Logify, this basically monitors the all the components and the temperature during this transportation and storage. So Bagmo basically solves the problem of this blood bags. Next is wafer chips techno solutions. This is just like a pen drive device which can be used in any smartphone through Bluetooth device. And this is basically where you can have your ECG monitoring, all these things through this chip. EasyRx. EasyRx is the affordable test kit where you can test anemia or liver or lung related medical problems without any blood work for less than ₹1. So this is basically for hospitals. MediAsha is the one, again, one more from one of the top incubation center from Pune. So MediAsha Technologies. So what they are doing is we have this first aid kit, and first aid kit do not have anything which is related with orthopedic. So if someone has fractured during a sports activity or during accident, so you need to travel that patient from that location to the nearest hospital. What will happen if this has been happened in any of the villages? Can you travel so far for next 1 or 2 hour to the city so that the fracture can be, or that problem can be solved? So this is basically a hybrid composition where he has used some silicon and other orthopedic splint material, And this is basically just like a handkerchief, you can just wrap it around, you can take it and keep it in first aid kit. At the time of when you see any of the fracture, what you have to do is you have to just remove this cloth, which is of size of handkerchief. You have to just soak in a water, right, and just wrap it around the affected area where you have this particular uh, fracture. Within 3 to 5 minutes, it has entire functional strength as like a fracture, as like a hospital fracture. So this is basically a convenient option as a part of this first aid kit. So even I guess in March 2020, he has received 15 lakhs of funding from state government. Similarly, College of Engineering Pune, they have this Bhau Incubation Center. Bhau in Marathi, we call Bhau as big brother. And that's the ideology which they have kept a name, Bhau Incubation Center. So a big brother, a name of the incubation center is Big Brother, because your incubation center is actually a big brother who supports you in everything, whatever you do. And the same thing they are doing through this Bhau Incubation Center. Even Medi Asha is basically a startup graduated from Bhau Incubation Center. So even they are into prosthetics. So those who have lost their ears or nose during any accident or by birth or birth deformity, or even there are some soldiers from army or defense who have lost their ears and nose, even by using this prosthetics, they can have their artificial ears and noses of the same size, right? So even this problem they are facing, they are solving. Inito is one more IITN startup. Now what Inito has done is Inito has this home care device, and which basically helps users to suggest all the lifestyle changes based on the test results. So whatever test you want to have, maybe vitamin, maybe thyroid, or maybe other diabetic or other lifestyle conditions, you can have this through this Inito medical app. You can just plug into your smartphone. They have their application as well, and based on your results and based on subsequent results, for example, if I'm a diabetic patient and I'm doing this diabetic test on the same platform for the 1 year or for 12 months, then this AI of Inito will suggest me what kind of lifestyle changes I have to do based on my test results, right? So this has been introduced in this Inito application, right? Now, starting with third nugget, that is pain points in healthcare sector. So here we need to see that everywhere we are disrupting in agriculture, we are disrupting in automobiles, we are disrupting in a space, we are disrupting in good governance, but we are not disrupting in healthcare. Why? Because the reason why Indian healthcare is one of the very last industries to be disrupted by technology is we cannot afford to experiment on our patients. You can have your trial and error for any of the people when you develop any smartphone application or anything which is related with agriculture or food or space. You can do anything on trial and error basis, but we cannot afford to experiment, we cannot afford to trial and error on our patients. And that's the reason why we are the last industries to be disrupted by technology. So today, what is the scenario? Today India's population is reaching to 1.4 billion, and the half of this will be at age of 30. So this is demographic dividend. But what we have, so 930 millions have direct access to cell phones but not to clean water. That's the irony which our country have. We do not have any central regulatory authority of health which ensures services, and most of the citizens are uninsured. So even most of now health insurance sector is in a boom, because most of the people right now they are now becoming health conscious, right? But unlike US or UK or any of the developed countries, we do not have any central regulatory authority which manages entire health insurance of our people through our taxes. Okay, we do not have that authority. So that's the pain point which you can address. One more fact and figure: there is only one government hospital bed in every 2046 patients, while US has 345 beds. This is we need to have more time in solving these kind of problems, and that's how we came through this telemedicine approach, right? Because our doctors cannot reach to the last patient, and that's how we have this telemedicine. There is only one government doctor in every 10,189 patients. So, maybe a problem can be solved by having more number of medical institutions, maybe, right? But this is huge, right? One in 10,189 patients, while US has only 20, while US has 24.5 doctors. 76% of Indians do not have health insurance. Now, this you can consider as 76% as a market opportunity. So this is your market size if you are diving into health insurance sector. So this results in high out of pocket expenses incurred by the citizens of this country. Now, a survey has conducted last year showed that 88% of the patients would switch to another provider if they were not satisfied with the existing one. Now, this was not the case before 15 years, before 20 years, but today, even the patients are not being satisfied by the services of from the doctors. So 88% of the patients, they would like to switch to another provider. So the best thing which we today see is, you whenever we see people in a waiting room or in a lobby of hospital or in front of any clinic, so what we have today is Google. So what we do is, before we meet any doctor, we Google anything. So based on our symptoms or based on what doctors they have prescribed us, we have Google. So what we do is we immediately ask Google whether doctor has prescribed right medicine or not. So that's the other side of the technology which we are using, but we cannot call this as a disruption. One more irony, or as a healthcare professional, I seriously think on this, that most of the healthcare startups have been created by engineers, not from healthcare professionals. See, more than 85% of the startups, healthcare startups, they are created, they are founded, they are innovated by engineers. I'm sure that you may think like, building a healthcare startup using AI or machine learning is a work of, or is can be done perfectly by any engineer. I absolutely agree with that. This does not mean that now, even today, I am healthcare professional, I have no sense how programming is done, or how AI and machine learning is actually being done in some of the business operations. But still, I do have my two startups which uses AI, machine learning, and cloud computing as a backend operation. So this does not mean that now whatever services I have this, or I wanted to integrate in my startup, what I did is I have outsourced all these things to an engineer. So engineers should be there as a part of your team, as a part of, like, even you can have co-founders, those will be engineers. So this together will make a blend, because as a healthcare professional, we closely experience the pain point of the patient, or pain point of the doctors, or pain point of the hospitals, right? So idea is, you need to make a blend of healthcare professional plus engineer plus MBAs. So this together can build a strong team in upcoming times to come. And last is integrating 7-star technologies. So today we have artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, big data, augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchain. These are 7-star technologies which, yes, Shubham, I can recognize you. Thank you. Thank you so much for your autograph. Thank you, Shubham. Moving ahead. Yes, last case study I want to have. Mumbai-based student startup who got 15 lakh funding, and he is projecting turnover of 35 lakhs in next 3 years. So what he did is, now he is second year mechanical engineering student, and during his presentation where he wanted to raise some of the funds, his startup was God. So God is Guruji on demand. So what he did is, like how Ola has aggregated all the cars, or how Oyo has aggregated all the hotels. Similarly, on God, he has aggregated all the Panditjis who do these rituals, Satyanarayan Puja, or during this wedding or birthday ceremony or Janam Shanti, all the rituals which Panditjis do. So this entire sector is unorganized sector. So what he actually wanted to do is, he wanted to aggregate all these Panditjis so that the people can avail, or they can find the best panditjis based on the ratings, based on the services for their all their vidhis and rituals, right? So he got 15 lakh funding during this pitch deck, and he is projecting total turnover of 35 lakh rupees in next 3 years. So he started with Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad. So at the time of pitch deck, even out of curiosity, because we even found this as one of the creative startup. So we asked that student, how you got this idea to create an aggregator model of Panditjis. So he said, sir, I myself is the fourth generation Panditjis, and I know all the pain points of the Panditjis or my entire family who are into all these things. So he has closely seen these pain points, and because he was engineer, because somewhere he has read the aggregator business model, he could relate to his family business, and then he formed this God as one of the startup, right? So now what you have to do, getting started at educational campus. So probably you might have some ideas, you might have some prototype. So immediately you need to validate your idea. If you have your prototype, you have to approach some of the teaching customers so that you can have this, and then you can have avail your incubation period for your own startup so that you can start working on this. And then is the stage where you can reach to the market, and then you can launch your product, right, or services. So this is how a student can start his own startup, from idea to prototype, incubation. And as an accelerator, we handhold all the institutions from idea to market, from market to scale up, right? So this is how we ideate, and this is basically how we mentor all these student startups to bring their ideas into reality. Okay. Now, as a part of this, we have this Plan B startup community. In case if you want to be a part of the startup community, what you have to do is you have to just save this number 9552206644. You have to just type yes and send it to this number so that you can be a part of this community. As a part of this community, you go on receiving all the information, updates, all the updates related with any workshop, conferences, investor speech deck, any of the event, any of the government of India initiative, any funding scheme, whatever is there which is related with startups, you will get absolutely free of cost on your on your WhatsApp. Okay. So this was all about healthcare startup. And yes, at last I would like to thank all the members of your institution, mainly the organizers, principal sir, all the IIC coordinators, along with all the students from your institution, for having me here for this wonderful session. And in case if you have any queries, any doubts, you can reach us to director@opexindia.com. So that's my email ID. You can reach to me with whatever suggestions or any confusions or any doubts. If you have, you can just write me an email on director@opexindia.com. It is opexindia.com, so that we can connect you back. And even we appeal institutions in case if they are in a need of setting up their incubation center, startup center, even if they are in a need of our mentors. We do have some 70 plus startup mentors, startup founders who actually did a great task at incubation centers. You can contact us at any time. So once again, great to see all the students participating here from Zoom as well as on YouTube. So once again, I'm thankful to all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I would like to apologize because of one of the student. Sorry. Now, on
Yes.
behalf of every attendees, I would like to ask some questions to you.
Okay, okay, okay.
So,
Yes.
my first question is, what is that one instance or moment which gave you the kick to enter the startup ecosystem?
Okay, okay. See, after my MPharm, I was actually in industry. I was working in Watson Pharmaceuticals in technology transfer department, and there I spent some 3 years. But during these 3 years, I never enjoyed whatever I was doing in technology transfer. Somewhere I was thinking like कि अगर मैंने MBA किया तो then I can start something of my own. Okay, so I didn't have any clarity what to start and when to start. So there, for me, a turning point was Infosys certification. So I've been to Infosys Mysore for one training program on Global Business Foundation Skills Program, and this is basically a CSR activity from Infosys, which is led by great Sudha Murthy ji. So under her leadership, they do have this Global Business Foundation Skills Program. I was one of the part of that. And there I got this influence that, yes, we need to reach institutions as a part of skill development. So later I started this journey. I started with skill development approaches, and then I started like how we can integrate technology as a part of whatever we are doing. And then we do have some 3-4 ventures now during these 5-6 years. So for me, I'm basically an accidental entrepreneur. It was not planned. I'm accidental entrepreneur.
That's great, sir. So the second question is, looking at the facts and figures of post-19 unemployment, what is your stand for the opportunities which may be available for the upcoming under and postgraduates?
Please call him. Manish sir. He was expecting 12 बजे हम लोग पहुंचेंगे उधर. Just tell him we'll be there in 1 hour. Yeah, pardon?
Yeah, sure. Shall I repeat my question?
Yes.
Yeah. So looking at the facts and figures of unemployment post COVID-19, what is your stand for the opportunities which may be available for the upcoming under and postgraduates?
Sure. See, unemployment is ideally is not a problem for pharma. We have employment opportunities as well, but there are some gray areas as well in pharmaceuticals where we see unemployment. But the idea here is when someone startup, he creates 10 jobs, right? So in single attempt, you solve customers problem always as you create employment for our country, right? So more number of people will join in your startup, more will be prosperity in your own business as well as for the entire nation. So first of all, set a vision, and then based on your own values, you have to go ahead.
That's true, sir. That's really motivating. And what are the key activities would you recommend for the aspiring entrepreneurs to invest their time in?
Number one is team building for any startup. There is no thing like one man army, right? Nahi ho paega, right? Very rare case there we can see one man army. So build a team which is composed of a blend, right? आपके टीम में इंजीनियर भी चाहिए, एमबीए भी चाहिए, because engineer has good sense of technology, MBA has good sense of developing a business model, right? And you are the one who will take care of operations, right? So number one is team building. Number two is don't wait for funds to come, create your own funds, right? Many of the startups, they even they don't start because they do not have funding, rote rehte hain, right? So don't have to worry about funds. You have incubation centers now. You can get your initial funds for prototype from incubation centers, and incubation centers, they have the funds from government of India, right? And number three is focus only on customers pain point. That's it.
So I hope you have some more time to answer more questions.
Can we have only two questions? Only two
Okay,
questions, please,
okay,
please.
sir.
We can have one more Q&A session. Maybe
Yeah.
by this weekend, I can spare 1 or 2 hours for Q&A only. That would be great. But right now, I'm in a little hurry.
So saving your time, I would email the questions to you. Now I would invite Jayant Gidwani, sir, the conveyor SAPE IIC, to propose a vote of thanks. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Thank you.
Once again, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, sir.
It is really nice to hear you, and you won't believe every of my attendee were eager for this session. The
Thank you.
reason being you are from pharmacy. Second reason being at very young age you are at this position, handling 3 to 4 startups. So I can call you as a serial entrepreneur, not accidental entrepreneur.
Right. Maybe.
I just want to add on one quote here, like one can pay back the loan of a gold. One can pay back the loan of a gold, but one dies forever in debt to those who are kind. Sir, your kindness, I can say,
Thank
is
you.
really a thing which one cannot pay for.
Thank you, sir.
Second thing, sir, your willingness and expertise in our collective efforts and thoughts to provide the best practices, which we believe will be, bring us closer to imbibe a culture of entrepreneurship and innovation is commendable. And your contribution, I believe, is just like the Sachin Tendulkar innings in Team India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Last but not the least, sir, your voice and your expertise in terms of the advantage one can have for their own innovation and startup was really, really grateful and helpful for us. We believe and we hope to have the same kind of association in the near future too. Thank you so much, sir, for
Sure.
accepting my request to guide my students, my faculty members. Thank you so much for sparing your time. I know how hectic schedule you are in, but still you have managed somehow for that. Really grateful to you. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir, for your appreciation. I would, really love to visit your campus at Indore, because I never visited Indore. And for Indore, what I know is you have great food dishes. And being a
Yes.
foodie, I would like to enjoy all those dishes as well.
So soon
So
I'll invite you.
sure, sir. Sure. Yes.
Okay.
And
Thank you
once
so
again,
much,
thank you
sir.
to all the participants and all the entire team and organizers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.